going on YouTube? Today we're going to look at a movie that came out way back in the late 1900s. The same year that this old man that's speaking right now was born, 1987, one of the greatest horror action sci-fi movies comes out. Sure, it's standing on the shoulders of other movies that came prior to it, but it absolutely made it its own and introduces one of the greatest horror sci-fi antagonists of all time. Of course, I'm talking about 1987's Predator. Oh my God, I love this movie. This is one of my favorite horror sci-fi movies of all time. I remember watching it when I was really young, thinking that Dutch, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was one of the greatest, human characters, heroes of all time. I thought that he could just do everything. I mean, he stands face to face, toe to toe with this Predator and lives. So let's dive into one of my favorite movies of all time. First off, let's talk about the cast. I mean, we already talked about Arnold playing Dutch, the main guy, but you also got the late, great R.I.P. Carl Weathers as Dylan, and they have one of the most macho handshakes of all time. Certainly nothing weird about what's going on here. But you also got Bill Duke as Mac, got Jesse Ventura as Blaine, Shane Black as Hawkins, and then Sonny Landham as Billy. And Shane Black would go on to write and direct The Predator, the 2018 sequel, to mixed reviews, to say the least. But he also wrote a few of my favorite movies, including Last Action Hero, that also stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, the very underrated Long Kiss Goodnight, and of course the movie that probably catapulted him as far as a writer, director, into national acclaim is Lethal Weapon. He also did Iron Man 3, I guess, for what it's worth.
It's complicated,
It
right?
is.
It's complicated.
And director John McTiernan would go on to direct Die Hard the following year, as well as work on Last Action Hero with Mr. Black and Arnold. He knows what he's doing, and the jungle location feels claustrophobic while also providing our heroes and the villain an interesting place to do battle and kind of have a cat and mouse game. I mean, this whole movie is one long, very slow kind of chase. And, this is coming off the success of Aliens, which dropped the year prior. But the change from outer space to Earth, I think, is welcomed. It definitely is enough to differentiate itself and make the Predator sort of stand out on its own. The Predator's design is inventive. I love it. It was created by the great Stan Winston, who did the Terminator series, Jurassic Park, Aliens, The Thing. So, I mean, they were in great hands. And I do really enjoy the early parts of this movie, pre-Predator, because we get to see how great this team really is at their job. They're the best of the best, and it makes it all the more horrifying and amazing and impressive, choose your word there, whatever, when the Predator systematically takes them all down with very little difficulty. Getting to see these guys function well before getting absolutely decimated really adds to just how functioning and amazing the Predator is at what he does. The gore is grotesque, but never over the top. This film still looks amazing, almost 40 years later. The plot is refreshingly simple, but I do love the clues that the movie drops almost immediately, about Dylan's betrayal, the hints of the Predator using the trees to travel undetected. These guys are facing a foe and they're woefully unprepared for, but they just don't know it yet. But listen, we see the alien ship at the beginning of the movie, so we, as the audience, know what they're up against. But I do love that we get a lot of the heat vision shots to give us even more of an idea of his abilities and his motives. He's stalking them. He's watching them. He's learning about them because the Predator wasn't only sent here to hunt, but he wants to find those that are worthy and pose a threat. So, it's kind of interesting that without even outright saying it, you can kind of piece that together. He's looking for a worthy opponent. He could have offed them anytime he wanted, so he's kind of waiting for his moment. My favorite action scene is the soldiers' assault on the guerrilla compound, so it doesn't even involve the Predator. It has some good gunfights, several amazing fire stunts. It has explosions, a freaking minigun or grenade launcher, and of course, a cheesy Arnold one-liner. What more could you ask for? And as I said, we get to see firsthand just how capable these guys are. This is ultimately what puts the Predator on their trail. Their victory here leads to the defeat and death of most of these guys. The director takes a very Jaws-like approach to this movie with its big bad. It's 40 minutes into the movie before we get our first confrontation with the Predator, and much longer before we get our first proper look at what these guys are dealing with. And the Predator design, when you finally see it, I spoke on it briefly, it still strikes an imposing figure. It's still one hell of a reveal, even all these years later. The best death, I would have to say, is Dylan's. Gets his arm shot off and then driven right through by the arm blade. His scream also adds to the epicness. R.I.P. Carl Weathers. Billy's death is also super memorable and badass. We don't see it, but if anything, that makes it creepier. We can imagine, what Billy's thinking, what leads Billy to remove his shirt and, feel like, I have no choice but to square off against this beast. And then his scream might actually be creepier than Dylan's. So is Arnold just that badass, or did the Predator's plasma shot hit his gun and possibly protect him a little bit? Because Dylan loses his arm and Arnold gets a small wound. So the gun blocking it is the only thing that I can come up with, aside from Dutch being, in the super soldier program with Captain America. But we get the famous waterfall scene. This is a standout. It creeped me the hell out as a kid. Watching him stalk Dutch and thinking he was a goner. The cloaking device shorting out keeps popping him in and out of view. So it's a really great moment, really great effect there. And then Arnold's war cry when he's preparing to finally do battle. Hands down, this is the best scream in the movie. Now, I really like Arnold's, or Dutch's, I should say, ingenuity here. He sets up the booby traps. He has a plan. He has the Predator on the ropes there for a little while, but it doesn't take long for Predator to regain control, and he could have absolutely ended Dutch. But he sees him as a worthy adversary, and he wants to do battle 1v1 without the weapons. So I've always respected this moment. It shows a lot about the Predator, their species, and, the way that they view themselves versus the universe. They want to test themselves. So it's not really about victory by any means. It's about an honorable victory. So that's pretty cool. And I love this reveal. I love the design. The mandibles was a great idea. And, he has a humanoid body, but nothing, else aside from those dope dreadlocks, which in the expanded lore is not actually hair, but they're sensory organs, and they play a vital part in, their awareness and their hunting. So if you dive into the expanded lore a little bit, you'll find out it's not actually hair. But anyway, really cool, badass, iconic design. And I love the ending of this movie, the 90s American sitcom ending, where the characters are all turning and smiling at the screen. It never fails to get one hell of a chuckle out of me. So this movie, for me, it's a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's a perfect movie, but I know that I could never judge this movie, without any kind of bias. This is one of my favorite childhood movies. I've watched this literally my entire life. Came out the year I was born. So this is not supposed to be an unbiased review. This is just me talking about one of my favorite movies of all time. Comment down below. Let me know how you feel about Predator. Let me know who's your favorite character in the movie. For me, it's of course Dutch, but I think Dylan, played by the great Carl Weathers, we miss that man. He was a great actor. He's a great character, even though he ends up being kind of a double crosser, a Benedict Arnold, if you will. But I just love this movie. I love everything about this movie. It's one of my favorites. So comment down below, like and subscribe. Again, I usually kind of take it easy during the summer. I have a small child, so I can't make as many videos as I would like. So it's going to be a little while before I get another one out. We're about to go home to Maryland. But I do still love doing this, and I plan on continuing. So look for my next video in the coming weeks. I appreciate every single one of you for watching, being fans, listening, whatever it is, comment. And again, let me know if there's any videos you'd love to see, and I'll definitely get them done as soon as I can. And I plan on ramping it back up as we move into the fall months and my kid gets back into school. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you all again very much. Be good people, be good to each other, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.